Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's episode of The Extra Point. I'm your host, Gabby Bates, and joining me tonight will be Zach, Anderson, and Nick. We have a lot to talk about coming up on tonight's show. We have a great show planned for you. We witnessed one of the craziest beginnings to the NFL free agency in a while, so we're going to get into that in a little bit. And of course, catch up on the latest action in the NBA. Your Clemson Tigers men's basketball team took on Florida State this afternoon in the second round of the ACC tournament. So make sure you stick around to get the debate as we discuss the outcome of that game. Also, we'll get into some baseball, and lastly, we'll end with a sure-to-be interesting game. But as always, anytime during the show, feel free to jump in on the action and give us a call to ask a question or even stay on the line to argue with one of the guys. So first things first, the Florida State Seminoles knocked your Clemson Tigers out of the ACC tournament this afternoon in a nail-biting fashion, 76-73. The Tigers were down 20 points at one point in the second half, but they rallied back and nearly pulled out a victory. Guys, what are you taking away from this game if you were on the team?
All right, well, thank you, Gabby. First of all, that was the definition of a heartbreaker if you're a Clemson fan. I mean, during about the middle of the game, I was about ready to give up on it. I turned it off for a while, stopped watching it. I think Florida State was up by almost 20 at one point, or maybe even more than that. But and then Clemson stormed back. They had this great comeback. They ended up only losing by 2 points. But, I mean, there goes Clemson's tournament hopes. I mean, it was pretty far-fetched. I mean, Clemson probably would have had to won the ACC tournament to make the big dance. But still, that's the end of the road for us. So just hope we make the NIT, the not-invited tournament, and we'll just have to see what goes on from there. Guys?
Well, I was watching the game today at work, and I turned it off a little bit in the second half when we started slipping. I was like, oh, God, here we go again. Yeah. And then my boss came in, and he's like, you still watching the game? I'm like, no, I turned it off. He's like, well, you better turn it back on. I'm like, why? He's like, we're down 3 or 7 seconds to go. I'm like, oh, my God, turn it back on, and I saw the shot Gabe DeVoe missed with 4 seconds left in the game. I thought that was in for a second there. It was his definition of a heartbreak, especially because we really needed to go all the way to even have a chance, obviously to get a berth in the NCAA tournament. Now we're hoping. I mean, we're sitting at 16-15. Now we're hoping to get in the NIT. I don't know. This could have been the very last game that the Clemson Tigers in Rod Hall could have played in. I just don't see the Tigers getting well. First of all, a high seed in the NIT. Yeah. But if they get in, they're going to barely get in. So.
Yeah, if it is the last game, Rod Hall plays as a Clemson Tiger, it's a great way to end his career. Yeah, he finished the game with 25 points. He showed that, hey, I can be an aggressive player. It was good. It was a good high note to a good career at Clemson. Mm-hmm. He stayed all 4 years. Great guy, great player. But the game as a whole, it was just. I think the game is just a perfect example of what Clemson basketball is. You know, they get your hopes up, they're cute for a while, but in the end, they just don't have it. And what's it? It is the ability to sink that shot that Rod Hall put up when we were down 75-73 with 25 seconds. It's the ability to sink that 3 that Gabe DeVoe missed at the end of the game. And I mean, they showed great resiliency by being able to come back. Yeah. But that's what separates us from better programs. We just don't have the ability to win games like that. Yeah. And with Clemson, it's either we're performing as great as we can, or we're just terrible. Like, we are a very inconsistent team, and I think a lot of that has to do with coaching, and a lot of it has to do with just talent. You know, when we were down 20, I was hearing people on Twitter going after Brownell's job. Do I think that's going to happen? Not this year, but I think if we have another disappointing year next year.
It very well might. I think so.
Yeah, and it's just, I just feel like in situations like that, you have to close if you're going to be respected as a program. Those are the games you have to win if you want to take the next step, and we just weren't able to.
Another thing is, I mean, Clemson has only won 2 ACC tournament games since 2009. And that's ridiculous, first of all. I mean, just putting that in perspective, 6 years, I mean, this is 2015, this is 6 years of ACC tournament games, now only winning 2. That's getting knocked out in the first round almost every time.
Were both of those last year?
One of them was.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact number, like when the games were, but two in the last 6 years. That's crazy. But also, again, commenting on what you said is like perfect example of Clemson basketball. I think it honestly was. I thought it also kind of contradicted itself too, because all year, these last 4 years, Brunel really preaches defense. I mean, Clemson always has a great defensive team, and they started off great defensive. They had a great first half, and they had a great first half. But then they started slipping on defense. But they had, if you look at it, they had an amazing defense or offensive game compared to Clemson standards.
When's the last time we saw a player score 20 points? And Rod Hall did it seemingly with ease. I can't remember the last time I saw a Clemson player score 20.
Not only that, but when's the last time you saw this Clemson team shoot 38.9% from 3-point land? That's I think is the most crazy stat. Because every single show, it seemed like we were always talking about how we can't shoot threes, yet we still shoot threes.
Can't shoot threes.
We shot threes today.
Okay. What do you think?
I just wanted to add one final note to what you were saying about Brad Brunell's job. I think if we have another season like this next year, he is going to be out, mainly because Clemson pumps a lot of money into this program. We have great facilities. We play in the best college basketball conference in the country by far. And I think Clemson's getting a little tired of being a one-trick pony when it comes to D1 sports. Every once in a while we're good in baseball, but primarily we're just a football school. For our location and our conference, I think that they really want to take that next step in college basketball. And we have had some success in the past. We've made a couple tournaments, but nothing really too amazing. And this is a very tough place to recruit. Duke and North Carolina snatching up everything, all the best players from our state. So we're going to have to kind of wait and see, but I do think that his job will be in jeopardy. So, Gabby?
All right, now we got to get into some March Madness, and I don't mean the NCAA tournament. I'm talking about the craziness at the start of the NFL free agency. The Eagles, Jaguars, 49ers, Seahawks, Lions, and Dolphins were only a few teams that made some of the big moves yesterday. Guys, I want to know what teams are winning and losing so far.
That was one of the craziest free agent days I think I've probably ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe the caliber of big-name players that were just on the move constantly. As for winners and losers, they only got one big name, but I think the biggest winner is Seattle, and mainly because I was saying this earlier, but Seattle's made it to 2 consecutive Super Bowls, and they're only a play away from winning 2 consecutive Super Bowls, and they did that with an incredibly weak receiving core. Outside of Doug Baldwin, who's really like a third best receiver on a good team at best, he was their best receiver, and now they have Jimmy Graham, who's debatably the best tight end in the NFL. They're going to be dangerous, and they didn't lose much to get him. So, I really look for Seattle to come out big. Another team that's making a ton of moves is Philly. They didn't re-sign LaShawn McCoy, and he is now with the Bills. And they also signed Sam Bradford from the Rams. And I think that's a really interesting move because they traded Foles to get him. I think that's a very interesting move. It seemed like Foles was going to be their go-to guy. If not him, then Mark Sanchez, who played decent last season, considering how bad his career has been early on. But Sam Bradford, a great player out of college who's had a couple bright spots in his NFL, but he's been plagued by injuries. If he can stay healthy, I really think that might end up being a good pickup for the Eagles. He's a strong player, and with that bolstered receiving core that they have, I think they could really make a move. As for one loser, I'm going to have to say, I'm looking down at my list here of moves. I'm going to have to say Detroit lost a lot with Ndamukong Suh leaving. And I know he wanted the world for his contract, but they did lose a big piece. And yes, they picked up Haloti Ngata, but he's no Suh. Suh was the most dominant defensive tackle in the game. And losing him, that's really gonna hurt them coming down the road. So guys?
At this point in the offseason, it's easy to look at the sexy moves and the sexy trades like Ndamukong Suh's $114 million contract or whatever ridiculousness it is, and say, oh man, the Dolphins are winning because they have a great defensive tackle. It's easy to look at the Jets getting Darrelle Revis and saying, oh man, they won that. But if you look at it, this isn't the time of the offseason where teams win. This is where they lose. And let me explain that to you. A lot of teams spend a ton of money on these players, and they mortgage their future for one good player. In the next 2 years, Ndamukong Suh's contract, $60 million of it is guaranteed. He's going to get all of that money in the next 2 years. The rest of it he can earn with incentives. But on average, the Dolphins are committing $30 million of cap space to one player. And I think that is not a smart football decision. Will it put fans in the seats? Yeah. but it gives their defense an identity, I suppose. But you can't build on that team when you have so much focus, so much resources allocated on one player. I think one team I was telling Andy about this earlier. I think the Raiders are the dark horses of this offseason right now. They replaced their center. I forgot his name, but he was ranked number 22nd by Pro Football Focus. They let him walk. They took a risk, but it paid off huge because they ended up signing another center. His name doesn't quite come to me right now, but he's ranked number 3 by Pro Football Focus, and that is a great move for the Raiders, especially if they're trying to build around Derek Carr. Derek Carr, by all accounts, looks like he has what it takes to be a solid quarterback in the NFL. And I think
you just gotta get him on line.
Yeah, and I think if you can keep him off of his back and give him some targets, I think that offense can get rolling. And an underrated acquisition that Anderson loves is Roy Halou. If you want to explain that a little bit?
I mean, there's nothing much. I'm not going to go into too much detail with it. I just love him. I thought before Alfred Morris had his breakout year, 3 years ago?
I think so.
Hilou was looking like the guy who was going to be the go-to guy in Washington, and I loved him. I thought he was going to use an athletic back. I mean, he was fast, he was strong, he had all the makings of being a good back, but Alfred Morris beat him out. And I still have faith in Hilou, so I'm a great pickup by them. Very under the radar pickup by them, but I think that would be a big move. I'll give my loser here, Philadelphia Eagles. I came on 3 weeks ago and said Eagles needed to make a splash in free agency. I mean, they made a splash in free agency.
It wasn't the right one.
But it wasn't the right one. I mean, Sam Bradford, yes, he has tremendous potential, former first-round pick, but that's all potential is just a word. If you're not on the field,
no doubt. Healthy, he can be what they need at quarterback. Foles is average. Bradford is good, and I think that anytime you can make that upgrade at quarterback, you gotta pull the trigger on.
Foles is 1 year removed from having a 27 touchdown.
But
27 touchdown. And Sam Bradford has below 500 winning percentage when he's on the field. So I mean, you really can't say
playing with the Rams.
Hey,
the Rams are a terrible team.
Last year they were pretty good. They were dangerous last year. You didn't want to play them at the end of the season.
I mean, that's very true, but I'm still, the fact of the matter is he's got a below 500 winning percentage. I mean, he's just not winning in the NFL. He's not staying healthy, so that's why the Eagles are my losers. Yeah, they picked up Byron Maxwell, but then again, Maxwell has...
They spent a lot of money on him.
And they spent a lot of money on him, and Maxwell's only played one complete season, or started and played in all 16 games, one season out of his 4.
We love him here. He's a Clemson guy, and he has all the makings of a solid corner, but he's getting paid elite money, and we just don't know if he's that yet. That's kind of a gamble. And if you're gonna spend that money on anybody, yeah, Maxwell's a good addition. But why would you not put that money towards
something else?
Like when the McCoy trade happened, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at first, but if you thought about it, it worked because what they were getting is a linebacker with a ton of potential in Kiko Alonso, and they're getting rid of a big contract that they couldn't afford. Okay, that makes sense if you reason it out. Getting rid of Jeremy Maclin or letting Jeremy Maclin walk makes no sense to me. He is by far their best offensive weapon left. He's entering his prime. He's probably got 5 or 6 great years left in him.
Yeah, definitely.
By all accounts, he's a top 10 wide receiver. I mean, who's Sam Bradford going to throw to himself?
I mean, he's going to have to throw to one of those back receivers when he's sitting on the bench because he's injured.
I mean, Jordan Matthews is good. He's a good route runner. I called him the best. I called him the best receiver in the draft last year, and I still think he's going to.
He came on strong last year, but then once again, I don't think they're going to go anywhere with Mark Sanchez at quarterback. Sam Bradford's not going to play. You look at the main guys that they picked up. Sam Bradford has only has missed 25 games in his short career. Kiko Alonso missed all of last year, although he did have a great rookie year.
Yes.
Ryan Matthews, that's an under the radar.
I like that.
But once again, injured. He only played 6 games last year and has played one season in the last 6 years.
But then again, it's a low risk, high reward. It was 3 years. What was it, like $13 million? It wasn't a huge deal at all. I think he fits into Chip Kelly's offense. He's a patient runner. He's quick. He's not going to blaze the ground fast, but he is a quick running back. He's patient. He makes good cuts, and for a low cost, they got a good running back.
Definitely. When he's playing, he's good. Like when Bradford's playing, you can make the argument that he didn't have a good team around him. But when Bradford's playing, he doesn't win. When Ryan Matthews plays, he's got the stats to back it up. But you just look at those guys. Look at the names that they got. Not a single player has played in every, or at least majority of the games that they played. That's why they're my loser. My winner, I'll just finish my winner real quick, is I believe if something's not broke, you don't fix it. That's why the Green Bay Packers for me are the winners so far in free agency. Yeah. They re-signed Blaga, they re-signed Randall Cobb. Okay, they let go of AJ Hawk because that was broke. All right, so they're trying to fix that.
Yeah,
You got the draft. I mean, you look at the Packers roster; they're not going to lose anybody. They're not going to lose anybody big time. Basically, that whole entire team that should have. They still have cap space, but you look at that team; they should have. Arguably should have beat the Seahawks last year. They should have been in the Super Bowl. I mean, that team is the same exact team, plus another year of experience, but then again, another year of age. But another year of experience going back into this year. I mean, I'm looking for the Packers to have an even bigger year than what they did last year.
Yeah, I like how you picked the Packers as the winners there because success starts with consistency, and anytime you can carry over almost your entire roster over the next year, that's a successful offseason.
Spurs.
But I just want to go back to the Eagles for a minute. A lot of people are confused with what they're doing, but I think Chip Kelly, what he's building, is the opposite of what's expected out of him.
I mean, I was about to ask you guys, what do you think about his decision as not planning on getting Mariota?
I think that was kind of a smokescreen. I mean, who's going to say, yeah, we're going to try our damnedest to trade up and get the top quarterback in the draft? I mean, you don't show your cards before you're there. But
I definitely agree there.
I think he's still going to try to go after him, but I mean, part of me says
I think Sam Bradford is a chip. I think maybe you can package a deal with Sam Bradford in it. I mean, like you said, Sam Bradford's got plenty of potential. Package him up, get him, send him to the Raiders, or I don't know. Raiders need a backup quarterback. Who knows? I don't know.
I wouldn't trade my fourth round. I wouldn't trade my fourth overall pick for a backup quarterback.
Right. I'm just saying, like theoretically, just throwing it out there. Just like a team, like you know what I'm saying.
That needs a quarterback. Okay.
Right.
Jaguars.
What?
Jaguars, especially after picking up Julius Thomas.
Nah, they're not giving up. They're not giving up on.
Not yet.
Yeah. No, not yet. But yeah, definitely. But I think honestly, what I think the Eagles are going to do, I have a feeling they're going after DeMarco Murray. They freed up a lot of money.
DeMarco Murray personally reached out to Chip Kelly. I saw that on ESPN a few hours ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up in a minute. It's a bit of a rumor, but it's said that DeMarco Murray reached out to the Eagles. And I think it's mainly because that Dez Bryant contract negotiation is getting a little bit out of hand. And I personally don't think that both of them are going to be on that team next year. I think only one of them is.
I agree. DeMarco Murray's going somewhere. If he goes to the Eagles, I think that's a complete 180 to what the Eagles are doing. Now the Eagles got young talent, but they also have DeMarco Murray, which is arguably the best running back last year for sure, I think. You got the best running back. You got a core young talent. Yeah, you let some pieces go, but now this part of free agency does not look nearly as bad after you pick up DeMarco Murray.
See, what I was trying to tell you though is I think what the Eagles are building is they're turning to more of a run-based offense with a strong defense. That's why you get rid of McCoy for Kiko Alonso, because if you can sign Ryan Matthews and DeMarco Murray, you have a great option. You can use DeMarco Murray on first and second down and use Ryan Matthews as a third down back. Yeah, and honestly, Chip Kelly, creative offense guy, he can find a way to incorporate both tailbacks into an offensive scheme. You have Ryan Matthews who if healthy, can drastically change an offense. You have DeMarco Murray, who, like you said, was the best running back in the NFL last year. If you can put that together and you still have Jordan Matthews, I think what they're kind of building is almost similar to the Seahawks type of offense, because they're going to have one or maybe two options, because they still have Riley Cooper, who, despite what anybody's personal opinion on him, is a good receiver. Quality. You have Jordan Matthews and Riley Cooper, and you still have a bit of a passing option, but you're relying more on your running game. That's something you don't see out of the NFL anymore, because you got guys like Peyton Manning.
They've really steered away. It used to be like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that there's still a place for smash mouth football in the NFL, and I think everyone expects Chip Kelly, he's going to go speed, he's going to get glamour players, he's going to only focus on offense, but it shows that he knows what he's building as an entire team. And it's easy to get, you can look at deals like the Macklin thing, like I said, I still don't agree with it, but what it does is it frees up the cap space for you to focus on getting DeMarco Murray and focusing on building.
And Macklin's been very injury riddled, if you want to say, the last couple of years. I mean, he hasn't played a complete year either, so giving away that money, who might not really guarantee is going to be on the field, that's not a bad move. If you look at it from like an optimistic perspective, these moves are actually very quality, but like if you just look at it realistic, perspective, these moves are very, shaky. They make you really wonder if you're an Eagles fan. But I think
the smartest teams are the ones that don't plan for the next season. They're the ones that plan for the future, and that's what the Eagles are doing, because they'll be able to still have success next year, but they're also making sure that they can have something that they can build on for years to come. And I think that is smart. It's easy, like, you can look at the stuff at the surface value and say Chip Kelly doesn't know what he's doing. But obviously he does, or else he would not be the head coach of an NFL team. He's more qualified than we are, so let's just see what he's doing, and let's reserve judgment for another year, because I think that these are some good moves. The only one I have any problem with is the Macklin one, but like you said, he is injury prone.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about earlier, that is a cop-out, but he has had that issue.
And the thing you just said is Chip Kelly knows better than us, and he does. And that's the thing that makes me just really funny to me. All these fans, if they don't like a move because they're a big name player or move somewhere else, they take it just like, oh, what is the GM doing? What is the coach doing? They're there because they know.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, what makes us not them is because they know more than we do. I mean, so that goes a huge way too. Is Chip Kelly has a reason, has a motivation to doing what he's doing. Either he's trying to save up for DeMarco Murray, either he's trying to move up in the draft, or maybe he's trying to play for the future. There's a reason to what he's doing, because I mean, honestly, look at the Eagles team last year. They weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
That team's not going anywhere. You had to have done something. I mean, ever since they clearly themselves the dream team, there's only so far you can go.
There's only so far you can get with a glamorous offense and just a terrible
defense. I agree 100%.
And so let's take a look at some of the other transactions that has happened in free agency. We've already talked about the Seahawks hitting Graham. What do you think about the Detroit Lions and Baltimore Ravens trade for Lodignana? Personally, for me, as a Ravens fan, I love Lodignana.
Yeah.
He's a great leader. Great defensive tackle, arguably the second best defensive tackle in the NFL. But he's 31, he got caught for PEDs, he needed that edge last year. It shows that he was already falling off. And they were going to cut him anyways because of the cap space. But instead of cutting him, they were able to get Detroit's 4th and 5th round pick. I think it's highway robbery. What's your opinion?
I like it from both sides. One, obviously the Ravens for what you just said, but also the side of the Lions. They got a veteran guy to come back up. I mean, you look at that line, it's still very young. Nick Fairley, I'm drawing a blank on the guy. He's from BYU. Oh my gosh.
I'm not sure, but
6'8". I mean, he's a huge guy. 6'6", 6'7" guy playing defensive end. I heard that they're moving to a 3-4. So Lodignana is not going to be there long time. He's going to be not there long term, but he's a filler. He's going to mentor these guys. He's going to give them leadership. He's going to provide strong leadership. But other than that, they're not going to be with him for three years from now. I guarantee that. I mean, they'll be maybe this year and maybe next year, but this year for sure, obviously. But other than that, they're not going far with Nada. It's just really just a filler for Sue.
He's the type of no-nonsense type of player that can turn around the culture of a franchise, though. And you look at a guy like Sue, he's getting suspended all the time. He's never on the field. Sure, they did a whole ESPN feature on, how he's a gentle giant off the field. But maybe that's how they wanted to paint him. We don't know. We can't see it. But based on what we can see, he's not a mature player.
Nope.
He's dirty. And I'm sure you can argue that gives an identity to the defense, but it also sets a bad example. And when who you have is supposed to be the leader of your team isn't on the field because of his own stupid decisions, that's bad for the team.
Very bad.
And Lodignana is a bona fide professional. He's reliable. He's a defensive monster. He just blows past guys. He's a leader, and he can just turn around your defense.
Yeah.
And I think that is a good move. And even though it might not be long term, because like I said, he's fallen off a little bit. It might not be long term, but it's a good move in terms of getting a good personality in the locker room, changing the culture, and solidifying your defense for the next couple of years short term. Let's take a look at another one. Torrey Smith, San Francisco 49ers, 5 years, $40 million, $22 million guaranteed. What's your take?
I mean, this is more of an underrated radar move as well. Torrey Smith is a quality receiver for the Ravens. He had a pretty good year 2 years ago. Not as good of a year this past year. I mean, but he's a very quality guy. He deserves a bigger paycheck. I mean, that's a pretty lengthy paycheck, but. Great move for the 49ers because they lost Gore, Patrick Willis retired. I mean, they lost quite a few people. Michael Crabtree might leave them. So they really need to start something new with their offense. And that's a good quality to start. I wouldn't say it's going to change your team, but it's a good start.
And as a Ravens fan, I've seen Torrey Smith develop over the last four or so years. He is a great guy, great leader, fan favorite, but he is nothing more than a solid number 2.
Yep.
He is not worth the $8 million a year he's going to get, and that's why the Ravens let him walk. I was super sad to see him go, but because he's just such a good guy. I think a quintessential play that shows how he's not going to ever develop to be the number 1 was last year's divisional playoff game against the Patriots. Last play of the game, Joe Flacco fade out to Torrey Smith. It's a little bit overthrown. Torrey Smith gives up on it entirely. Doesn't stretch out to try to catch it. Doesn't try to swat it away from the defender. Just lets it sail over. It's exactly for that reason that he will never be a number 1. He doesn't have the physical dominance or the ability to recognize what he needs to do in every situation. He is a very fast player. He's a great guy. He can take the top off of the defense. He's a good vertical threat, but he is never going to be Andre Johnson, Calvin Johnson. He's not going to be the guy that you can have as your number 1. Yeah. That's why the Ravens let him go, because they know that for, instead of dedicating $8 million a year to him, they can spend that $8 million a year and put it towards the future. Definitely. At 26, there's going to be a lot of good options available at wide receiver for the Ravens. You know, there's Dorial Green-Beckham who might slip. Devin Smith is a solid player. His hand's a little bit questionable, but that's a whole other story. Jalen Strong out of ASU, kind of like
that's a very quiet guy.
Very cool. He's a sleeper pick, and that could be a selection. I think that the Ravens were very smart to let Torrey Smith go in this instance. It hurts the community because of how involved he is. He's a fan favorite, like I said.
He's a great guy, too.
Yeah, he really is. He has charities. He's very pro-animals. You can tell that he and his family are happy based on everything on social media and everything. And he's the guy that won't ever be in the news for the wrong reason. But that being said, he's not a great receiver. He's a good receiver. He's not great. And he's getting great money. But
he's getting great money.
Yeah, but he's not worth it.
Yeah, I agree. What do you guys think?
Well, I don't know. I think you guys pretty much covered most of the trades. Yeah, I didn't really have much else to add, Gabby.
No, we'll move on to the next topic. Well, I got a lot to say about that, but that's good. So now the NBA, we see the NBA is winding down as the teams are about to be over with. The teams' games are about to be over with. They only have like 20 games left. The Hawks beat the Cavs Friday night 107-97. The Warriors continued their amazing season by beating the Clippers 106-98 on Saturday. And the Grizzlies beat the Bulls 101-91 on Mondays. Guys, what are the main things you were looking for as the NBA regular season comes to a close?
Well, I think those 3 games you just named off were some huge matchups, and they really could prove to see what we might see in the future. I mean, the Grizzlies beating the Bulls, that's 2 top teams right there. The Hawks beating the Cavs, which I think is the most important game of this past week, primarily because the Cavs have been playing amazing recently, and this is probably the best they've been playing all season. And the Hawks, I've been kind of sleeping on them a little bit throughout the year. I've kind of said that I wasn't sure yet. They had been looking great, but I wasn't totally sold. And now I'm thinking I might start to be sold on them. I mean, they keep winning, and we're getting closer and closer to playoff time. And I know I keep saying that experience might be an issue, but still, I mean, the season's 82 games long, and they've already played almost a little bit over 60 of them, I believe. So I really think that the Hawks they have a chance to make a big run at the title. As for the West, it's still remaining very stable. The Spurs have gotten hot late.
Yeah, they're on their 6th straight win right now, I believe.
Yeah, I'm probably going to say that they might still be my title favorite. I mean, it's a little crazy. They're down there at like the 5th or 6th seed, but it's still the same team from last year. And I really think they could, with that experience, just make a huge push there in the playoffs at the end. It still remains to be seen. We still have a lot of games left to be played. We've still got a couple months, but it's going to be an interesting playoffs, guys.
In November, when the Hawks started kicking it back on, I was like, all right, who's this Hawks team? Like, Mike Budenholzer, who's that? Yeah. December, I was like, okay, Hawks, it's okay, you can stop now, you're not that good. January, it's like, okay, this is ridiculous, you guys have drawn this on too long, we get it, you can go on this huge win streak and I'll stop. February comes along, it's like, they're still going. And now it's March, I'm like, holy crap. Yeah, they're still going. Like, I don't think they've had a cold stretch since October. I mean, they have been very consistent, very strong team, and that's one of the things that I'm looking for is how the Hawks finish these last 20 games.
Yeah, and I think I've been saying this all year long, but I think the Hawks are a good team. I think they're good. They're one of those teams that has great regular season success, but I just don't see that team winning the finals. I just don't think they have it.
Neither did I.
And what is it? I don't know. But they just don't. You know, when you look at the Hawks, I don't see NBA champions. I see a good competitive team that might win a series in the playoffs, but I don't see an NBA champion.
Last month I would have agreed with you. 2 months ago I would have really agreed with you.
I
This month
I disagree with that too.
I disagree with that
I've
too.
seen the Hawks. The Hawks have really put up some points lately.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things you might be kind of looking away from is that the Hawks lack star power, whereas all the other huge teams at the top of the NBA have that star power quality.
Yeah, it's just a gut feeling. It really is. And I don't see them getting past other teams in the playoffs. Like, the East might be a little bit of an easy road, but when you play a team like the Cavs, LeBron James in the playoffs, unbelievable. I don't see that Hawks team stopping them. They beat them last week, but I mean, LeBron wasn't exactly having the strongest of games.
Very true. I mean, he wasn't. He's had a little bit of a rough patch here shooting wise, but again, if I was the Hawks and I looked at myself in the mirror, I don't see the Hawks. I see the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
Budenholzer was an assistant coach for Greg Popovich for I think 9 seasons in San Antonio. Okay, and like you said, San Antonio's Knicks pick. I'm picking them too. I honestly think that they're going to go all the way. I mean, 2 years ago when they lost to the Heat, everybody's just like, okay, the Spurs are done. This is the downfall of them. What they do? They came back and they won.
Yep.
Okay, now they have never. I don't think they've won back-to-back. I'm pretty sure they haven't won back-to-back championships ever with the big three in San Antonio. But I think they'll give it a run for their money. I think honestly the Cavs are going to go all the way, but the Hawks. I mean, it's biased too, but the Hawks are the Spurs. They're the Spurs V2. I mean, you got Millsap, Horford, Teague. And then you got Danny Green, Kyle Korver. You got Kawhi Leonard, DeMar Carroll. DeMar Carroll's a great defensive player, can step on and shoot it. I mean, is he an all-star? Does he have all-star potential like Kawhi? No.
To me, though, the Hawks, they don't have one particular player that stands out. It's the whole team that stands out. The whole team works together. That's how they're winning games, guys.
No doubt.
I mean,
no doubt.
I wouldn't exactly say that Paul Millsap and Al Horford are no-namers or anything.
Oh,
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just
Oh, they
saying.
definitely have names.
Star.
But I
It's
mean,
like
you
the
hear the
Spurs.
Cavs. When you hear the Cavs, you think LeBron James.
Kyrie,
Yeah,
Kevin Love.
I mean,
those guys are stars. Those are household names. Paul Millsap, Al Horford, they're household names to people who watch the NBA, but people who just kind of barely
You're right.
turn on a game. You really don't know Paul Millsap. And
Honestly, as a casual NBA fan, you might recognize Kyle Korver's name before you recognize Al Horford.
I think you're right, especially because he gets all the publicity of shooting threes. He's in the three-point contest. I agree. I think I agree with Gabby. They really don't have quote-unquote household name like LeBron, like Kevin Durant, John Wall. But the Hawks, I mean, the one thing, another point I want to add real quick is the fact that I thought the Hawks didn't have enough playoff experience, and they don't. I mean, they really don't have enough playoff experience as compared to like the Cavs, or not really the Cavs, but LeBron and some other teams in the East. But the Hawks are 9-4 against the top 4 teams in the East, 10-1 against the top 4 teams in the West.
That's ridiculous.
Now that's impressive.
That's an amazing
That's
stat.
really impressive. I mean, that's what made. I saw that stat today, and I was like, wow. I mean, the Hawks are the real deal. You look at the top 4 teams in the West: Golden State, Memphis, Houston. I think San Antonio's 5th.
You already said Houston. Portland, yeah. Oh, we keep forgetting about Portland.
No,
Can't sleep on Portland. Don't sleep on Rip City, though. They're the real deal.
He's down.
Damian Lillard's overrated. Marcus Aldridge shoots too much. Portland's not going anywhere. They're a good regular season team, but they're not going anywhere in the playoffs. I guarantee you that.
I don't know. So my pick to go all the way. I've been talking crap about him all year, but the Golden State Warriors.
Stephen Curry.
Yeah. My dislike for the Warriors has been very put out there.
Yes, it has, especially last week.
But that is a team that plays good defense. You know, it's easy to look at ESPN and say, oh, all they do is shoot threes. But they are a solid team, top to bottom. You know, you got Stephen Curry, who's a great distributor. He's a great. While I do not agree that he is my type of prototypical point guard,
MVP?
he gets the job done. I do not think he's MVP. I will not concede that.
Put all his eggs in the James Harden basket.
Yes, but Klay Thompson's a good second option. You got Andre Iguodala. Holding down defense. Harrison Barnes, you can provide a solid scoring option. Bogut, when he comes back, I think he's going to be pretty good. David Lee, rebounding machine. That's a team. I thought they like the Hawks. I thought the Warriors would fall off by now, but they just haven't.
The one thing I'm looking for with Golden State is their post game. If you look, they're averaging offensively. They're getting blocked. Golden State's getting blocked 6.1 times per game. That's first out of any team in the NBA.
But what's their scoring? Are they scoring those points?
Oh, in the paint? No.
In general.
No, I think Dallas is. I think Dallas is scoring. Yeah, I mean, not anymore, maybe, but I think
don't sleep on Dallas either. Dallas is in there too. Honestly, all 8 teams in the West, or even 9, I guess, if you included. Who's in 9th place right now?
Phoenix or New Orleans.
Okay, not 9, but honestly, all 8 teams from the West, they're in the playoffs right now. I think any one of them, especially Oakland. What am I talking about? Oklahoma City. Getting my team mixed up. Oklahoma City, I think, is another team that, while they had a terrible beginning of the season, don't sleep on them either. They're going to be trouble for whoever they're playing in the first round.
They're a team that is still somehow finding a way to win a decent amount of games with Russell Westbrook. Put Kevin Durant back in the game.
That's
and that is an elite team. That is not a team anybody in the West wants to face in the playoffs.
One stat that I did see today, Russell Westbrook, 35 points in the last 10 games, 35 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, and like 4 steals. But the OKC, 3-3, or the last 6 games, 3-3, without Kevin Durant. I mean that's one why Russell Westbrook won't be MVP, because not only he's doing everything he can, the team's still not winning. That's kind of shaky. But put Kevin Durant back in there. I mean, they got a team if they can mesh again. But once again, Russell Westbrook is getting used to having the ball a lot. Like you watch those games, and that's Russell Westbrook.
That's not a necessity. I don't think he's gonna. I think when Durant comes back.
But everybody's been talking about Westbrook's basically taking over KD's spot. Like he can perform, like that team can perform without KD. Do you agree with that?
No, not even a little bit. I think the media wants to believe that there's a rift between KD and Russell Westbrook. This is my team. I don't think that's a thing.
They just want to.
They just want a story.
They're just trying to add a new aspect to it, make it.
Russell Westbrook is the most explosive player in the NBA, but you look at him, he is competitive. That doesn't come from I want to get mine. That comes from I want to win games. And if that means getting the ball to KD more when KD comes back, it's going to happen. KD is the best scorer in the NBA, period. And when he comes back, he takes the team to a whole different level. And there's no way Russell Westbrook would not find a way to get him the ball when he knows it would help his team.
Personally, I can't believe you just said that Kevin Durant's a better scorer than James Harden. From your boy. That's your boy.
That's your boy, that's your
right there, man.
That's your MVP.
James Harden is a different scorer than KD. James Harden is a smart player because he gets the other team into foul trouble. He gets his free throws and he scores points. He gets the job done. But Kevin Durant is an efficient player from the field. He doesn't have to get to the free throw line. He can do it all. When he gets to the free throw line, he shoots at a good clip. He's a threat. He's a threat from the field, and he's just an all-around. I think he all-around is the best scorer in the NBA. And James Harden is my guy. I still have him going for MVP. I think he will. But that's just because KD hasn't been around enough this year. If it was KD and KD was putting out a KD year, I would probably say KD again.
Oh, he'd be MVP. And I think that the Thunder would probably be in the top 2 at least in the West. And I'm going to go ahead and make a bold prediction right now. If KD comes back for the playoffs and he is healthy, 100%,
please don't say it.
Title.
Oh God, he said it.
I don't think it's that crazy.
I would give him
I think it's that crazy.
a extremely good chance at going to the title, at least to the finals. I think that they could beat anybody in a best-of-7 series.
I do too. And if you would have asked me a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, I wouldn't have think they could.
Oh, I totally agree, because I didn't think that Westbrook by himself was going to be able to put up the performance that he did.
I didn't either.
And now they're storming back.
Who did?
Exactly.
But I think the biggest part, what put them over the top was the addition of Enes Kanter. I said it last show, but he is an amazing bench player to have. He's a luxury to have on your bench. He's a rebounding machine. He's a threat. He's a grinder in the low post. He can put up points, and you can run your second unit through Enes Kanter.
There's a lot to be said for playoff experience as well. OKC's got a lot of playoff experience. They've been in the playoff.
They've been to the finals.
They've been to the finals. When they lost to the Heat in the finals 3 years ago, I was like, all right, next year's OKC's year. They've been there, they lost, they know what it's like to lose, they'll be back. What happened? Lost to the Spurs. Okay, and I mean, now what they're doing, they're not winning games. Honestly,
KD's not on the court though. You can't say that. You
right?
can't say that it's-
Right. I'm not gonna. I was gonna say that there. KD's not on the court, but the fact of the matter is they're just not winning games. I mean, granted, KD's not on the court, like I just said. But last year they didn't go as far as what I thought they were going to. They didn't go as far as a lot of people thought they were going to. Then again, they gave up James Harden. I mean, now after this season, they're like, all right, well maybe they got to trade Kevin Durant so you can free up some cap space and
Which
you
they're
can get
not
as much
going to
as you might get. You never know. They did it with James Harden. Why not do it again?
Kevin Durant is arguably the best player in the NBA. When he is performing at max capacity, he rivals LeBron James as the best player on the planet.
I
You
agree.
do not trade him away for cap space. You do not trade away a
For access.
28-year-old player who's
He's not
in
even
his
old.
prime. He's not even that old. What is he, 26,
I think
25?
24, 25.
Wow.
Yeah, he's really young.
Yeah, he's young. I mean,
You
when I say that-
don't trade away the best player in the NBA for cap space. At a certain point, you gotta say, all right, cap space is cool, but I already have the cream of the crop.
And-
I mean, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. And being a Cavs fan, in 2009, 2010, when we knew, we didn't really know where LeBron was going, but if we knew that he was going to go somewhere else, if we knew for sure he was going to go to Miami, which we didn't at the time, it was like, is he going to come home, is he going to Miami, or is he going to go to Chicago? We didn't know where he was going. There was still a pretty good chance he was going to come back home, but if we knew for certain that he was going to Miami, we should have traded. I would have traded him right then and there to get as much for him because you know you're losing him. There's been a lot of talk, more talk personally than I think LeBron James got in the end of the year. There's been a lot more talk earlier in his before his contract's up about him going to Washington, go back home.
But
So
that's
that-
because
I would- if that's
people
gonna- if
want
that's
to
true-
mirror LeBron James. People want that same situation.
If
I
that's
think
true,
it makes
though.
sense. I think it makes sense.
It's a great
but
fit for him in Washington.
It is.
It's a great chance for him to get championships in Washington for a while. And you're a Washington fan. You agree with it. You
I
want
do.
him there.
I
You
do.
want him there.
I do, but I think that a lot of the hype started because people saw LeBron James go back to Cleveland.
No doubt.
And I think that people were like,
Well, this
oh,
also happened
well,
before
this
he
would
came
make
back.
sense.
This was also started. This talk last year.
It didn't intensify until the return.
100%, but it did have. But it was talking about, or it was a huge, pretty decent story last year.
You wouldn't have heard it outside of TC.
I heard in Ohio. I mean, that's all I'm saying. I heard in Ohio, and if it's true, you get as much for Kevin Durant as possible, in my opinion. You get as much for him. If he's gone, you get as much for him. That's what Minnesota did with Kevin Love. They got Andrew Wiggins, who's going to be a stud. Who's going to be a
And I think the Cavaliers, I still think the Cavaliers made a mistake by trading
I don't.
away Andrew.
I mean,
Andrew Wiggins is going to be an elite.
Okay.
I agree with him there.
And
I
you
think he's
trade-
worth more in the future than Kevin Love because
trade-
he's so far proven to be the least productive
Kevin
player
Love
of
is
that big
26.
three.
Kevin Love is 26. He's averaging
But he's
16
already
points
maxed
and 10
out.
He's averaging 16 points and 10 rebounds. You can't argue with that. His efficiency is 18%. Okay, granted,
That's
it's
above
not,
average.
It's above average by 3%. League average is 15%.
Monster.
Okay? All right. Now, like I said, Dwight Howard 17%. Remember, I said Dwight Howard's not that good. He's averaging 16 and 10. Same thing as Kevin Love.
Alright.
But Kevin Love is playing his role. He's stepping out. They're getting him incorporated in the offense more. He's had a bunch of 20-point games these last couple weeks. He's coming along. Yes, did we trade away a perennial all-star and maybe, I mean, say or not say, one of the best players it could be in NBA history. He was a huge, and Andrew Wiggins, he was a huge prospect coming out of high school. Yes, okay, we did do that. But Andrew Wiggins isn't going to hit his prime for another 3-4 years.
But
okay,
you're-
Kevin
you're
Love is in
financing
his
your-
prime. With LeBron in his prime, we have 6 years. about
LeBron is
6 year
past his
window.
prime. He's a little past his prime. LeBron.
26 points, 8 rebounds, or 7 rebounds, 7 assists. How is that past your prime?
Think about his
30.
defensive. When was the
He's
last
30.
time?
I don't care about his
He's
age.
been in the league for 11 years. You cannot do that.
numbers.
Wear and tear. I don't care about his numbers.
I don't care about what he does on the court. His age. His age.
Kobe was putting up numbers until he was 35. What happened next?
He got hurt.
Kobe keeps getting
Because
hurt,
he
though.
got hurt.
Why?
Kobe
Because
keeps
he
getting
was
hurt.
old and he had
Because
so
he
much
got-
wear and tear.
LeBron still got another 4 or 5 years.
All right. Hold on. Let me just finish my point.
I mean,
then.
granted, I'm biased. Okay,
Yes.
granted, I'm biased. I'm from Cleveland, but we got a 6-year window with this team. Granted, if we had Wiggins,
You no longer own Wiggins.
No, you don't have the next 4 years or next 3 years with Wiggins. You don't. You don't. Wiggins is not that good right now. Is he the best rookie? Yeah, he's rookie of the year. But is he LeBron? No. Would I take Kevin Love over Wiggins this year? I would take Kevin Love over Wiggins this year. Yes. Next year, maybe. The year after that, okay, that's when it starts going downhill. But what Kevin Love does in this offense gives us post presence, gives us rebounding, gives us stuff that the Cavs do not have if you take him off that team and put Wiggins on it. We have him on Shumpert. We have J.R. Smith. We do not need more wings. Kevin Love is a better fit, which is why this trade was amazing if they can re-sign Kevin Love.
All right, hold on. Let me make my point what I was saying about LeBron. Okay, he is still probably in the top 3 best players in the league. There's no debating that. But he is not the same player he was a couple years ago. He took a Cleveland team that had nothing. Anderson Varejao, he took that team deep into the playoffs every year when he was by himself. And mainly, the reason why I think he's peaked is his defensive play. He used to be the best defensive player, I'd say, by far in the NBA. He would fly down there and swat balls. I mean, somebody had a breakaway. If LeBron's on that field, you're not getting that freebie. He's going to come and swat that thing. He doesn't do that anymore. He's just a little bit older and a little bit slower. He's still a great player, but he's not the same. And his defensive side is really just brought down a little bit. So
he's smart, though. He's smart. He knows what he can and cannot do anymore. He knows.
I agree.
I mean, Kobe really doesn't know what he can and cannot do. He still tries to act like he's 23, which is why you see him getting hurt all the time. You don't see LeBron getting hurt all the time, unless of course he got pushed down a couple of weeks ago and sprained his wrist because it landed on funny. I mean, he's not going out of his way to hurt himself.
But there's also a reason that Kobe has won more championships than LeBron. Kobe will push himself even though he knows he shouldn't.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
LeBron is focused on his career. Kobe would sacrifice everything.
So Zach, you're saying Kobe over LeBron?
All time, yeah.
If Kobe and LeBron had the
currently.
same, if Kobe and LeBron had the same career, and you put them in the same draft.
What about this though?
I would pick Kobe over LeBron.
What about Kobe over Kevin Durant?
Kobe over Kevin Durant.
Kobe over Kevin Durant.
At the same age.
Kobe Bryant.
I don't know. I'm not as quick to jump on that one because I think Kevin Durant's a better team player.
A lot of people think Kevin Durant's better than Kobe Bryant.
I think he's a better team player. I wouldn't say Kobe in his prime was a better scorer. In his prime, very debatably the best scorer of all time in the NBA.
Well, I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan,
you
so
put Kobe Bryant
I'm gonna go
in
for
his
Kobe
prime
Bryant.
on the Oklahoma City Thunder team that went to the finals. They win that series.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, no doubt.
Durant might be a team player, but he does not have the.
But Kobe's just not healthy enough to play
anymore. But in his prime, he was the
that.
3rd best player in NBA history.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Kobe
Bryant. I agree with that.
I agree. That's a good point. And I mean, just to throw out there, I mean, we're not like trying to hype up Kobe so much, but he did have Shaquille O'Neal, one of the best supporting centers of all time, and Phil Jackson. Most people would say, I would say, debatably the best coach of all time. I would say Popovich is better, I think, in my opinion. But
and
then Phil Jackson as a coach.
I was just about to say it. He's got Shaquille O'Neal. Now you look at this team right here that they have, and you look at Miami's team. Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, all-stars. Okay.
The best three-point shooter of all time, Ray Allen.
Right.
But let's just be fair, way past his prime.
Hold on.
Coming way down.
He does not deteriorate. Right. Athleticism, maybe. Shooting, no.
Hold on.
True, but still, just.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Sorry. All right. Kevin Love and Kyrie all-stars. All right. I just want to finish my point so then you guys can talk about it. But Shaquille O'Neal was the best. Was a top 5 player in the NBA at the time when Kobe and him paired up. Okay, Kevin Love's not, arguably maybe top 10. Now he's probably top 20 player, just the way that people are portraying him. Kyrie's maybe top 15. But nobody is top 5, top 3. Shaquille O'Neal was I would say, top 3 player when they paired up. Okay, and that's why, you have to remember that's why. Dwayne Wade was not a top 3 player when LeBron and him paired up. Chris Bosh was not a top 3 player. Shaquille O'Neal was.
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and go as far to say that there hasn't been a center in the NBA as good as Shaq. In that there hasn't been a center as dominant as he was in the past 20 years or whatever since he left. I mean, he only left the league like, 6 or 5 years ago?
You guys are going to give me flack for this, but Dwight Howard, when he was in his prime in Orlando, was an excellent center.
He was, but still not as dominant. People were afraid of Shaq.
Ferocious rim protector.
True.
Dominant post scorer and rebounded 12 13, 14. You'd see games where Dwight Howard would go 20, 20, and 5 points.
I miss Superman.
I agree with you 100%. With Orlando, he was sweet. His mistake was going to LA. It honestly was.
Oh, one of the worst mistakes
But the
in
thing
recent
is,
NBA history.
Shaq and Dwight had practically the same exact timeline. Shaq and Dwight were both amazing with Orlando. Shaq and Dwight went to LA. Shaq was still amazing with LA. Dwight not so much.
But there was about a difference about 10 years of
defense,
Kobe life.
In Dwight's defense, he did have the foresight to only sign a 1-year deal.
True.
He knew that there was a possibility that team wouldn't work out. So what did he do? He packed his bags and went to a title contender.
So he ran away. I mean, Shaq didn't run away. Shaq signed a big contract and was like, all right, here we go.
You can call it running away. I can call it a smart basketball decision.
I call it running away.
Works out well. What team would you rather be on right now if you're Dwight Howard? The abysmal, the terrible Los Angeles Lakers, or the Houston Rockets, who arguably are a top 3, top 4 NBA team when they're executing.
But they weren't when he went there.
True.
No,
And then they added James Harden.
But where do y'all think the Lakers would be right now if Kobe Bryant was able to play? I mean, do you think
They'd
that they
still
would
be terrible. They don't have any players around.
Unless he can go back in time about 5 years. It's just
Kobe Bryant from
he's
10
too
years
old.
ago, to Kobe Bryant from, like you said, 5 years ago,
Wear
could
and
carry
tear.
that team. But right now, they'd still be terrible. Maybe they'd have 2 or 3 more wins, but I don't think Kobe would change anything.
True.
At this point
I
in his
agree.
career.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he was averaging 22 points before he got injured, but he just wasn't efficient. He was averaging 1 win shares, which is basically if you took him off the team. If you took him off the team, that's how many wins he got. The team was 1. I mean,
one player can't run a team.
Ones in 2 years. I mean, Kobe's on the down. I mean, yeah, his stats are still decent if you look at like the non-knowledge. I mean,
Team wasn't winning though. He wasn't passing. He wasn't shooting.
The visual stats though. I mean, he had good visual stats. He was 20, 5 and 5 rebounds, 5 assists. But that doesn't mean anything when you're not efficient and your team's not winning.
Yeah.
So
I mean, look at Kobe's championships. He's never done it by himself. He's always had a tremendous cast around him. Shaq in his early
I don't
years.
agree with the
Pau Gasol, Derek Fisher, one of the best leaders in NBA history.
I agree. Derek Fisher was.
And of course, he had Phil Jackson for most of those years. Again, coach.
But then again, who has won entirely by themselves? Michael Jordan, he had Pippen, Rodman, he had a great entire team around him.
Michael Jordan made Pippen.
That's a good point.
Pippen was good. Pippen was good before he went to the Bulls.
Michael Jordan made him.
Scottie Pippen is the best perimeter defender of all time, hands down. Michael Jordan, close second.
I'm sure you could debate that.
Kawhi Leonard's going to push.
That's a pretty wide.
Kawhi Leonard's going to give him a push. Kawhi Leonard's doing lately, that's giving him a push. Kawhi Leonard is.
But the point is, nobody can put a team on their back entirely. You gotta have a good supporting cast. So you can't say, "Oh, well, Kobe had a great cast."
Well, yeah. I'm not debating
Pippen.
that because I'm not saying that Kobe didn't have a supporting cast because there's teams that will have one with a superstar and then a good supporting cast, but Kobe has had some like stellar, amazing
But he's also
supporting
had
cast
bad ones.
surrounded by all stars.
And the one he won against the Celtics, what was it, 07, 08?
He had Pau Gasol, Derek Fisher.
Derek Fisher was just a pile of dust at that point.
But he's a great
Pau
leader.
Gasol, yes, he was top 5 at that point.
Yeah.
Andrew Bynum was all right. He was top 2.
Andrew Bynum, he was legit before he got his knee injuries. He was a top 3 center. I mean, it was him, Dwight, and
maybe even Pau. Maybe even Pau up there. Pau was amazing.
Andrew Bynum was legit. He was a feared guy.
They
Was he
would
as
not
athletic?
have won
No.
finals without Kobe. And that's what put him up.
Oh, absolutely not. I'm not debating that.
Yeah, nobody's debating that.
I mean, look what happened to Cleveland when LeBron left the first time. I mean,
don't bring me back.
they
to
were
this.
abysmal.
I'm happy where we are.
Anyway.
All right, let's move on.
All right, so we're going to move
Gabs.
on to the next topic. We are now 25 days away from opening day in the MLB. There are some brand new looking teams like the Padres and the Red Sox that have a lot of people anxious to see what those guys will look like. Guys, give me your top team that you are looking forward to watching this year, but also a team that could be maybe a huge surprise.
All right, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm not a huge baseball person, but I do think it was a very interesting offseason, and there was a lot of big moves. This is going to be an interesting season coming up. I think really some of the teams to watch for are going to be some of the, just the same teams we've been watching for a while. I think the Giants are going to be great again this year. I think the Red Sox may have turned it around. I think it's going to be interesting to watch if the Yankees were able to buy a couple more wins this offseason. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm a Yankees fan personally, and it's been getting a little tired of watching them buy all these players every year, and then they just keep getting worse. But I don't know. What do you guys have to say about it?
I'll make this real quick as well. My top team, my favorite team to go in it is the Dodgers. They're 94-60. I think they honestly can win 100 games this year. Kershaw is a stud. I mean, don't even get me started with Kershaw. I'll talk about him an hour alone, just without him. They traded away Matt Kemp, freed up a spot for Jack Pedersen, which is their top prospect coming in. He's projected to go 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases. You got Kershaw, who, like I said, 21-3 last year, a 1.77 ERA, a 10.8 Ks per nine, with a 1.4 walks per nine. I mean, that's ridiculous. He had a WAR of wins above replacement of 7.5. They parted way with Hanley Ramirez, yes, but they also got Jimmy Rollins, which is not arguably, he is a better defensive upgrade, and he's not that much worse of an offensive upgrade. So honestly, my favorite team, right, 36, and I mean Hanley is 31 too. I mean he's older, but like the age does come in effect when it gets that old. But Dodgers did not lose enough to stop them. I think they only got better. And my surprise team, Miami Marlins, they were 77-85 last year. But, I mean, you look who they didn't have last year is Jose Fernandez, who was a potential Cy Young candidate 2 years ago, Rookie of the Year 2 years ago. They got D. Gordon, who's going to be an awesome leadoff guy for them. Stole 64 stolen bases last year.
I don't agree with
Got on base at 326. But I agree too. But still, I mean, you're all about Moneyball. So am I, but I'm a little more Moneyball on steroids kind of thing. But they not only did they get D. Gordon, but they got Martin Prado. They signed Matt Latos from the Reds, which is a huge pitching pickup. I can't talk. Evaldi's gone, but they got Dan Herron, they got Matt Latos, so that was huge. And the NL East is not that strong. The only really team that they need to worry about it is the Nationals. Yes, Matt Harvey and the Mets, they have a young pitching staff, but they don't have the offense to back it up. That's why Miami is my sleeper team.
And you know what? You talk about the Nationals, and that's going to bring me to my point. I think the top team this upcoming year are the Washington Nationals. They picked up Matt Scherzer. They have a solid pitching staff. They have
one of the best all-time.
They have aces up and down that staff. Their number five. Their number 5 pitcher could be the ace on almost every other team.
100% agree.
You look at teams that win the World Series, great pitching. You gotta have good pitching. You can't win championships in baseball without good pitching.
And that's why San Francisco beat Kansas City, in my opinion. San Francisco just their bullpen wasn't as good as Kansas City, but you didn't need a bullpen when you had Madison Bumgarner, who came out of the bullpen. So I mean, I agree 100% with you. Who's your sleeper team?
My sleeper team, I got the Padres. They had a couple of nice acquisitions in the offseason. They got one of the Upton brothers, can't quite remember which one it is. Justin. Yep. They got another center fielder.
They got Matt Kemp, they got Justin Upton, and then they got Will Myers, who was a pretty well-known prospect.
So their entire outfield is filled with brand new studs. Yep. They all have the bat. They all have the glove. I'm excited to see what they can do offensively.
I'm excited too, but the one thing that I'm worried about is you look at the Miami Marlins 3 years ago when they brought in Jose Reyes.
This is a different situation.
Oh, I agree, but they bought their team. They didn't do well. I mean, and then the very next year, the Blue Jays bought their team. They really haven't done well either. I mean, so it's going to be interesting to see how the Padres do because I think the Padres may have a team that got James Shields as well. So that is. I mean, it's a questionable thing, and that's one of the teams I was very excited to look for.
If anything, the Padres will gain respect this year.
Yes.
And I think that's
going from what they were last year. I was surprised to see the splash that they made.
And being the San Diego Padres, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, I agree. What do you guys think?
Thank you, guys.
All right, everyone, it's time to play Date, Marry, or Dump. We have 3 rounds for you guys tonight. Are you ready?
I'm ready to go, Gab.
All right, the question is, we are 1 week away from the start of the NCAA tournament. So I have 3 teams for you guys: Wisconsin, Duke, Virginia. Which one would you date, marry, and dump? Nick?
All right, so to clarify on this one, marry means I'm sold for them to make it all the way to the title. Date means I feel pretty good about them, but I'm not sure if they're going to make it all the way. I think they have a chance, though. And then dump is I am not sold at all. Okay, so first, I'm just going to go with the middle one, my date team, and that is Duke. Duke has played very well. They have an extremely stacked roster. Jalil Okafor is one of the most talented young people, that sounds weird, young freshmen in college in a long time. And I really think, especially with Coach K, the best college basketball coach of all time, period, going there.
Yeah.
But I think that they really have a chance to make the title, but they haven't done it in 3 years or so, and they've had great teams every year. I mean, they've really flubbed up in the last couple of the tournaments, but For my Mary team, I'm going with Wisconsin, who has been my pick to win the title since the beginning of the year. Even with all of this Kentucky madness, Wisconsin, I think, is the most experienced team and has the best college basketball players in the country. Frank Kaminsky, Frank the Tank, is just a stud, one of the best college basketball players I've seen in years. And I think they really have what it takes to come back and win the title. I mean, last year they didn't. They made it to the Final Four and then got disappointed, and the players were just flat out disappointed, so they decided to come back. And this year, I really think they're going to do it. And that leaves my dump team. What was the third? Virginia. Dump Virginia.
By default.
Virginia is obviously, but Virginia's a great team. They're very defensive-minded, and I do think they're fantastic. But I think they lack the talent to hang with some of the top teams, which is a little hard to say because right now they're in the top 5 ranked, but I don't see them having the talent to go much farther than. I'm gonna go out on a whim and say they make it to the Sweet 16, and then they get dropped there. How about you guys?
You touched on disappointment. So I'm going to go to my date team. It's a team that always is filled with disappointment and upset. The Duke Blue Devils. They're my dump team. They are not going to make it past the Sweet 16. They are a team. Duke is a program that lately, man, they look great in the regular season. Damn, what happened in March Madness? That is Duke's. That should be their alma mater. Damn, what happened in the post? I don't
excluding those 4 titles.
I mean, how far?
Second most.
But
that's neither here nor
that's neither here nor there. Okafor, yeah, best college basketball player in the country right now. They have Tyus Jones, but I just don't see anybody else. I don't think that that's a team that can go all the way. I don't see it.
Who are the other 2?
So who are you going to marry?
Well, I'll get to that on my last. Well, it doesn't matter. It all comes down to this one. There's only 3 options. So I'm going to marry the Virginia Cavaliers.
Really?
Opposites.
It is a team that has great defense, and I am of the firm belief that in any sport, defense wins championships. And I'm going to stick by that all March Madness. I have them going all the way and losing to Kentucky in the final. I think Kentucky, even though they're not here, I'm just going to go ahead and talk about them. I think they do it. I think they go perfect. I think they go all the way. History, book it. My date team, obviously Wisconsin. You got Frank Kaminsky, great college basketball player. That team is good. It's like you said, they're full of the best college basketball players. But who are we kidding? Wisconsin's not going to go all the way. It's not going to happen. They're going to make a little bit of noise. They might make it past the Sweet 16. Hell, they might make it to the Final Four, but they're not going all the way.
I agree. Which brings me to my dump team. We've had such a good run. All right, it's not you, it's me. I'm a skeptic. I live in the moment. Okay, Wisconsin. I'm going to have to end it. I just don't see this working out. I don't see you going as far as I'd like you to go. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Frank, I love you to death, baby. But you're just not the guy that's going to carry the team all the way. So I'm going to dump Wisconsin. Okay, now again on a real note. My Mary team, who's very attractive, has great history behind them, has great parents, has had great years before them, the Duke Blue Devils. I know. Coach K, great coach. I mean, it goes a long way if you have a great coach in the NCAA tournament, which is why I picked them. But also Julio Okafor, rare talent, 6'11" guy who can really take over a game when he wants to. You got Quinn Cook, who's a lights-out three-point shooter, and he's clutch. I mean, he's hit some really clutch threes this year. You got Justice Winslow, you got Tyus Jones, you got players on players, and Tyus Jones has been with a huge clutch game against North Carolina. I mean, he's had his fair share of clutch games. Duke is ready. It's Duke's year once again. They've had a little bit of a drought. It's Duke's year, and then that leaves my day team, Virginia.
You think Duke? Hold on, I'm just gonna stop you. You think Duke can beat Kentucky?
I don't think Kentucky will get there.
But you got to think about this. Duke has beat North Carolina twice this year.
Yeah, but North Carolina is trash.
I don't think.
Not when they're playing Duke. That's like one of the biggest rivalries right now in basketball history.
I don't think Kentucky will get there. If Kentucky gets there, Kentucky goes.
I mean, it
all the
wasn't
way.
like it was like a blowout. I mean, it was close games both times.
Right.
Kentucky is stars, top to bottom. It's a great team. Everyone likes to say, oh, well, with Kentucky's in the past. You look at them, and it's like, they got John Wall, he's their star, he's going to take them all the way. They got Nerlens Noel, high profile. Everybody on that team is a star. That team is not going to fall.
And the only team to do it was Anthony Davis's team.
Anthony Davis is he's something else.
Anthony Davis
that's once in a generation.
Anthony Davis is the NBA MVP if the Pelicans had a better team.
I wouldn't even date Anthony Davis. I mean, have you seen him? I mean, yes, he's very
eyebrows.
But hey, looks.
That eyebrow has made him more money than you'll make.
Very true, man.
Raise the brow.
We've got next.
All right, so let's go on to the next thing. So the number 2 question is, with the NBA season nearing the end, many teams are on the verge of getting the final seed in the playoffs. Among those teams are the New Orleans Pelicans, the Phoenix Suns, and the Charlotte Bobcats. You got to date one, you have to marry one, and you have to dump one, guys.
All right, I love this question, and I'm going to start out with my dump team, and it may seem a little surprising compared to the other teams that are on the list, but it's going to be the Suns, and I think that's because the West is just way too strong, and there's no way that they're getting that last spot, especially when they have to already beat the Pelicans, who are already one spot above them. I mean, I don't even think the Pelicans are going to get in, frankly, because the top 8 in the West, like I said earlier, is just way too strong. I think even the 8th seed in the West could make a shot at the title. Moving on, though, my date team is going to be the Bobcats because the East, especially the bottom of the East, is atrocious. It is just, I mean, once you get past like 6 in the East, it is just like, hey, does anybody want to come in and make the playoffs? I mean, it doesn't matter. You can just walk off the street and make it in there. I mean, who do you have below Charlotte right now? Boston, Brooklyn. I think there's one other team I might be missing in between there, but
the Celtics are only a couple games out.
Yeah, but I mean, it's awful. I mean, they lose Rajon Rondo, and now they're still only like 2 games out of the playoffs. I mean, it's just atrocious down there at the bottom. But the Hornets, I think, are going to get that 8th spot, and I mean, they're not going to go anywhere. But one thing I want to say about the Hornets is that I think they're very close to becoming relevant in the NBA. I think Kemba Walker is one of the greatest, or I'm not going to say greatest, he's one of the best point guards in the NBA. Not one of the greatest, that's the wrong word choice, but one of the best point guards in the NBA. And I think they really they're missing a star in the middle. And once they get that, I think that they could really make that next step into a playoff regular. And for my married team, obviously that leaves the New Orleans Pelicans, and that's mainly because the eyebrow, Anthony Davis, he is a stud. He is going to be one of the best players in NBA history when his career is ending. And they're only a couple games out. I don't have the numbers on me right now, but they're only a couple games out of 8th place. They do have a chance to move forward and get that last spot, but I don't think they're going to this year. But look out, in the next year or two, the Pelicans are going to be making noise a lot. Go ahead, guys.
Kemba, it's been real.
It's been fun. It's been real fun.
But you gotta go.
Don't kill
I'm
my boy.
The Bobcats. You've had a nice run, but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna work out. Cardiac Kemba, he's not the type of guy that'll carry a team. Al Jefferson's nice. He's a good player.
Quality guy.
Quality player. Nice is about the only adjective.
He's a guy that'll help you move.
Yeah. He would help you get your television downstairs, but I don't think the Bobcats are going to make the playoffs. Especially, I just don't see that team breaking through. Which brings me to my married team. I do. New Orleans, you complete me, baby. I want to spend my life. Anthony Davis, like you said, he's probably going to end up being one of the best rim protectors of all time. Yeah. A great player. The New Orleans runs through him. That is just a great all-around team, in my opinion. I think they are going to beat out the Suns for the 7th seed, and I think the Suns will finish with the 8th seed. While I would have picked the Suns to finish above the Pelicans, they got rid of Goran Dragic, which I think was a bad
Zach, I really like how you're really dramatic about it. I really like
You're
that.
so romantic. I'm talking. It's freaking me out now. I'm sitting too close to you. I'm dumping.
I like it though. It adds a little bit of like.
I'm dumping the Bobcats. Not going to talk about them. They're awful. They suck. All right. I'm also. What's the other team? The the Suns. I'm gonna dump the Suns too. Okay.
Double dump.
I'm double dumping. Okay. I play hard to get.
I'm dumping off.
I play hard to get.
It's either go hard or go home.
I'm going to. I don't date.
You don't
going straight
date,
for
you're
it. I'm
married.
getting down on my knee. I'm gonna propose to the Pelicans, not because of Anthony Davis's looks, but because of how he plays. Okay. Anthony Davis is a stud. He's gonna be a perennial All-Star. He's gonna go down in the books as one of the best. I mean, he's having a historic year right now in his 3rd season alone. So I'm marrying the Pelicans. What's next?
All right, and lastly, as we talked about earlier, the NFL free agency started off with a bang. There were big names that flew around. The 3 biggest ones were Jimmy Graham, Julius Thomas, and Sue. Same thing for these 3 players. Guys, what do you think?
Okay, well, this is an interesting one right here. And I'll go ahead and start with my dump player. And I'm not even dumping this person. I'm getting divorced and a restraining order. And Ndamukong Suh, it's over, okay? I liked you when you were in Detroit, but now this huge contract deal moving to Miami, you're going to be so full of yourself when you get down there. You're thinking you're not going to have to work at all. You're going to be like Jadeveon Clowney your last year at Carolina. You are just going to be, oh my God, I just wait for it, okay? He is going to be a huge waste of money for them. I would go to say that he's going to be
emphasis on huge.
He's a big boy.
huge, yes, but he is going to be. His behavioral problems are going to continue down there. He's probably going to have more off the field issues. I mean, Miami's a little bit different of a
Over
scene
under,
than
how many years do you think
Detroit.
it takes him to get into an incident in a Miami nightclub? How long do you think it is before he's in the news for punching a stripper?
On years, I'm going to
Yeah.
give him less than 3 months once he gets down there. Okay, and so that's my rant on Sue. My date move is Julius Thomas. And one of you said this earlier, I'm going to steal it from you, but it's a great move for the Jaguars and a terrible move for Julius Thomas. Just Jacksonville is where people go to, not people, it's where NFL players go to die. That is just, that is where NFL players go to die. Julius Thomas, last 2 years, has been a huge surprise and probably top 2 tight ends in the league. Of course, he's going to be moving on from Peyton Manning to the all-time great Blake Bortles. So that transition is going to be a little rough for him. But he is such a talent that I think he might be able to bring a little bit of a spark to that offense. Finally, my married player is Jeremy Graham. The best move, I'd say, by far, and I said it earlier because the Seahawks lacked a passing threat the last couple seasons, and Russell Wilson is so dynamic, he can make anything happen. But now you add the top tight end in the league in Jimmy Graham, they're just going to be insane. I mean, watch out for the Seahawks coming back to the Super Bowl again. 3-peat, called it right here. Back to you guys.
All right, I'm gonna start off with my. I'm gonna start with my date. I'm gonna date Graham.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm not marrying him is because Russell Wilson isn't Drew Brees. Okay, Drew Brees is a great quarterback.
It's actually a decent comparison, honestly.
No.
But then Madonna had too strong of an arm, kind of short.
Drew Brees passes a lot, runs more. I mean, you really can't compare those two, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, they're a little shorter QB-wise. I mean, you can compare them physically maybe, but Russell's more of a scramble guy. Drew Brees is more of a pocket passer and passes a lot more than Russell Wilson. I mean, you have Drew Brees passing to you and your number 1 target there. I mean, he's going to be the number 1 target in Seattle, but I don't know how that's going to correlate, which is why I'm dating him. It's going to be short period. I don't know. I'm going to marry. I dumped 2 people last round. I'm marrying 2 people this round. Now hear me out.
Whoa.
Or, I'm sorry, no, I'm not. Screw that. I hate Julius Thomas. I'm done with Julius Thomas, okay? Well, I don't even know why I considered marrying him. Well,
You're all
I
over
have
the
social
place
issues,
today.
okay? I have confidence issues, okay? I'm dumping Thomas, first of all, okay? Thomas downgraded from Peyton Manning to Blake Bortles. You look at other wideouts that went that did that. Eric Decker, okay, went from Peyton
Eric
Manning.
Decker still had a decent season really.
Peyton Manning, he went from Peyton Manning to Geno Smith. Okay, I'm not going to give you the stats because they're not nearly as good as what they were.
Wouldn't you argue that any receiver would do not perform as well when they go away from Peyton Manning to any other quarterback outside of maybe Tom Brady? Like, you're down.
That's my point.
Yeah, but so would anybody.
I'm saying, like, I mean, Greg Jennings with Aaron Rodgers downgraded from Christian Ponder and all those guys. Christian Ponder's supposed to be a good prospect. I mean, he downgraded.
Is he even in the NFL anymore?
No, he's bouncing around. He's in the NFL, but he's just bouncing around. I mean, it was Christian Ponder and company, that Greg Jennings. I mean, Greg Jennings to this day says that he doesn't regret leaving Green Bay. I would regret leaving Green Bay. His stats say otherwise, okay? And I'm marrying Sue, okay? Not really for Sue's performance. I think Sue, hear me out, okay? Sue is a great defensive player, okay? But I'm marrying him for his money. He got a huge contract. I'm gonna be
Digger
bold here,
alert.
okay? I'm marrying for his money. That's why I'm marrying him.
I'm gonna marry Julius Thomas because I think it is a great fit in Jacksonville. He's a big guy, solid receiver. The type of guy that Blake Bortles needs. Who's he throwing to? He doesn't have Blackman because Blackman, I don't know what he's doing anymore. He's sure as hell not playing football. But Julius Thomas gives him an offensive weapon, someone for Blake Bortles to throw to. While I am going to marry Julius Thomas, I'm going to cheat on him with Jimmy Graham, who I'm going to be dating. He's going to be my hot date, who I see out in public. I'm going to show him off. He's flashy. He's going to be the guy that takes Seattle to the next level. Imagine if they had Jimmy Graham running that slant instead of Ricardo Lockett last year in the Super Bowl. See if he doesn't run over that defensive back and then spike the ball in his face after he wins
Great point.
touchdown.
See if somebody else knew who that player was.
Hmm?
See if somebody else knew who Lockett was.
Yeah. And I'm dumping Sue like it's hot. I'm dropping him. Oh my goodness, he can fall off. No, I don't even care. That is the worst deal I have ever seen in my life. He has $60 million guaranteed coming in 2 years. That's $30 million in cap space for one player. I went on a rant on this earlier, but it's just so stupid. Miami's the type of franchise where it listens to popularity now. Like, it listens to the fans, what they want. That's a sign of a bad franchise.
No, that's a sign of a good franchise.
No, it's
What's the sports industry? It's sports and entertainment, okay?
No,
You're
sports
for the
industry,
fans.
sports is
For the
about
fans.
winning games.
It's about winning games
It's
for the
Dominican
fans.
Sue.
You know what organization doesn't listen to the fans? The Patriots. Look at them.
The Ravens. They've
And
won a
even the
Super Bowl.
Ravens.
They're only 2 years removed from the Super Bowl, and they're always in contention.
Exactly.
How do they not listen to the fans, though?
What do you mean?
Because they're not going after Mr. Flashy.
Tom Brady's not Mr. Flashy?
He was
Please.
drafted in the 7th round.
I don't care where he's drafted. They have him. He's Mr. Flashy. Rob Gronkowski, please tell me that he's not Mr. Flashy.
They also drafted
Did you see
him.
dancing at the LA Clippers game?
They also drafted him. I'm saying that they don't go out of their way to pick up big free agents.
Because they don't need to.
Because
they
they're
draft
good.
them.
They're a smart team.
Yes,
They
they're a
don't-
smart team. That doesn't make them not flashy, though. That doesn't make them not do what the fans want.
Well,
The fans want to keep them, they kept them.
But the fans would have wanted.
The fans want wins.
The fans would have wanted the Patriots to go and sign Jeremy Maclin and Andre Johnson because Tom Brady's never had a good supporting wide receiver cast.
Randy Moss.
So the fans were like, well, what
50
would Brady
touchdowns.
do if he had 2 more? Let's go get both of them. Let's go get Sue too while we're at it. These are the type of people that
You don't have that money. Nobody's got enough money in the world for Sue.
These are the type of people
The Yankees
that play
do.
Madden, that
Yankees do.
edit players' stats, make them go all the way down, sign all the big names, and then put them all back to 99s overall. They're your little brother in Madden.
When you're one of the best defensive linemen in the game, you get paid for you cash in that paycheck.
He is not worth that much. Look at Albert Hainsworth. Albert Hainsworth made bang when he left.
Oh, what a
the Giants.
terrible deal. Don't
And
remind me
he
of
was
that.
terrible.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
the same exact situation. He was good with the Lions, and now he's going to a team because they gave him a lot of money.
He was great with the Lions.
He was, but I don't think that is a good deal. He's a good player. There's no denying that, but he is not $30 million a year good. No player on the earth is $30 million a year good. I would not pay that much for Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Aaron Rodgers, I would pay that much for Aaron Rodgers.
I would pay that much for Russell Wilson.
Tom Brady wins.
Think about it. $30 million a year. Who are you going to have throw? Or who are you going to have him throw to? Himself? That's so much money for one player. One player.
Hey,
I agree that is way too
much.
much for a defensive lineman. I mean, if Miami wants to pull in flashy players to really bring in fans, you're gonna bring in a defensive lineman? Like really?
It's not just a defensive line. It's Dominican Sue. He's in the headlines every week for some.
But not for the right.
True, but if you want to bring in somebody to bring in seats, you need to put up a running back, a quarterback, wide receiver, the skill positions. That's what people like.
They got Lamar Miller. They got the running back. They got Mike Wallace. They got the receiver. Okay, Tannehill. I don't know. I'm not buying into him yet. They got a good team. I was against Miami too. I talked to some guys the other day. They really opened my eyes to Miami. Miami's going to be a good team.
Nope.
Gabby?
All right, that's all we have for tonight. So we hope you enjoyed watching. Tweet us at CU Tigervision to make any suggestions for the show or topics that you want us to discuss. Like Tigervision on YouTube to watch past episodes of any Tigervision show. And as always, feel free to call in and join on the debate. Thanks again for watching tonight. Have a great spring break, and we will see y'all back in 2 weeks to catch back up on everything sports. Till next time, Clemson.